Hello, and welcome to my garage. This is Brian G., the EV OG.
You're not seeing things. Brian just got his 1.11 Part 2 software update, and he went through a tour of the entire Ocean and all of the changes. So let's kick it back to him.
I'm coming to you today to talk to you about our Fisker Ocean 1. I've nicknamed this vehicle Mystique, partially based on the color, Mariana Blue. We took delivery of this vehicle on October 25th of this year, so we've had it now for 2 months and 1 week. It's been an interesting ride. Part of that ride includes over-the-air software updates, and today I'm here to talk to you about the latest software update. Believe it or not, in less than 3 months, we've had 3 over-the-air software updates. The first 2 were a little bit odd in that those were just pushed to the vehicle. I just had a notice on the touchscreen, and the first one was within a week of delivery. That update really didn't bring any sort of significant change, at least that I could see as a user. The second update was about 2 weeks ago to version 1.11, and it was part 1. This was a 2-part update, and I'll put a link to the Fisker site that shares details for every software update. And last night, I got a notification in the car, and so I knew that that was version 1.11, part 2. I actually set up this camera on a tripod inside the vehicle because the instructions are such that when the update is being performed, it's going to take about a half hour, and the vehicle should be locked without any occupants. I'll share that in a separate video. Now that the software has been updated, I thought it'd be good to share with you exactly what we got in this update. So let's get into Mystique here and take a look at the elements of this update. And within settings, if we look at software, the vehicle now shows the proper version information for the OS. Prior to this release, this only provided software version for the ICC. If I click on release notes, you'll notice that it still does not have the accurate release notes for this version of software. I'll share the link to the Fisker support page, which does have the accurate release notes. Coming out of software, one of the first places that you'll see something new for this update is within this charge/trips screen, where trips is new. Prior to this, we had charge, and this used to be odometer. So now we finally have the ability to see trip statistics. The current trip, trip A, as well as the overall odometer reading here. And with the odometer, in addition to your miles driven, it gives you your average energy in terms of kilowatt hours per mile, as well as your total energy usage. The fourth option here is since the last time you charged the vehicle. We literally had no sort of trip computer prior to this. You literally had to manually do the work of calculating how many miles you had driven, and obviously we didn't have any of the energy usage. Another element of this update is a screen cleaning mode. To get to that, you go into the settings menu where we are, click on display, and you'll notice you have the option of having a dark display, which I'm using, as well as a light colored display. But if you scroll down, there's the screen cleaning mode. So you hit that, and you have the opportunity now to use a microfiber cloth to go ahead and clean the screen. I happen to be using some matte screen protectors. Press and hold, and you exit out of that. Most of the information for this update seems to be in navigation, but before I go to that, I'll just point out that within connectivity, we've got Bluetooth. You can pair up to 10 different devices. Right now, we've got my iPhone as well as my bride's phone. We've got the opportunity to leverage the car's 4G connection up here to create a Wi-Fi hotspot. And this was not a part of the update. We already had the Wi-Fi hotspot. In terms of Wi-Fi, though, that's a new addition with this software update. To this point, all of the car's connectivity for streaming as well as for downloading over-the-air updates. It's all relied on that 4G connection. But with this release, we now have the ability to have the vehicle connect to our Wi-Fi network either here or at a different location. So let's get into navigation, where we can see some of the elements of this software release. Now, one of the things that jumps out to me right away is how the icons, fonts, the arrow, they're larger, they're bolder. It's got a bit of a Waze type functionality where it seems to leverage crowdsourced information about elements that we see out on the road. Specifically in this case, we've got the ability to report on speed cameras. And right here on this screen, this was buried in a menu, but they've moved it here to the touchscreen where you can actually, if you see a speed camera or a speed trap, you can actually click that and it'll record that and report it. I'm going to cancel that. We have the ability to do that right from the touchscreen without needing to necessarily go into a menu or look elsewhere for it. This button that's always been there, it gives you the ability to mute, voice-guided navigation, unmute it, or my preference is for it to just provide alerts. That's the only thing I'm really interested in. If I choose this Wendy's in Baltimore here as an example, I'm going to ask the vehicle to route from where we are to that location. We've got the address, we've got the status of it. Right now it's indicating that Wendy's is closed. I'm not sure how accurate that is at 7:17 in the evening on Thursday, but the phone number is there and we can call. It's giving me a link to that location. I can make it a favorite just by hitting the star right there, or I can hide these details. So that's nice to have those details about the location that you're navigating to. Routes is intended to show different ways you can route to that location, but I don't know that I've ever seen multiple options. But within routes, this is an interesting addition here where if you click on that, you go into route settings, right? And within route settings, it gives you all of your navigation configuration options, if you will. In this case, do you want to avoid tolls? Do you want to interstate highways? I've selected ferries and unpaved roads, but you can also do border crossings, smart ICs, not quite sure what that is, tunnels, low emission zones, HOV lanes. One of the things that's also interesting here is that you can configure the battery state of charge that you want to arrive at your destination with in terms of worst case. It will actually update charging stops and duration based on the changes we make to the battery level at destination. So let me come out of here and put in a further route. We typically will do trips out to Cape Cod. So the zip code out there is 02666. All right, there we go. Truro, Massachusetts. So if I select that, it will obviously do the route planning. Given my current state of charge, it's indicating that this trip will require us to make 3 stops for charging at a total of 1 hour and 31 minutes, and that's included in the 9 hours and 36 minutes or so. So if I go into routes, there we go. We get the overall plan for the trip. It's indicating that I'd be arriving at 4:58 a.m. if we left right now, and you can actually scroll through here to see, it looks like it wants us to drive 31 minutes, 28 miles to a charge point location. Doesn't provide a ton of information about that location, but it does let us know what type of DC fast charging we're looking at there. So in this case, obviously it's indicating 62 kilowatts. I'd probably want to have something at 150 kilowatts or more, but that's what it's indicating there for our first charging stop, indicating that we should charge from 17 to 64%, kind of an oddly specific 17 to 64. Then we would drive 2 hours, 34 minutes to go 176 miles to Mills at Jersey Gardens. I'm not sure what charging provider that is, but it's indicating the time we would arrive, the state of charge that we should expect to arrive with. And again, another oddly specific stop here. So charge for 20 minutes to 56% using 150 kilowatt charging at that location. Then another 2.5 hour drive, 157 miles to another charge point location with 125 kilowatt charging, 20 minutes there to get us to 49% state of charge. And then it's another 2.5 hour drive, 148 miles to our destination in Truro, Massachusetts, where we would arrive with a state of charge of about 9%. That's the recommended route plan, but we do have the ability, as I said, to come into the route settings. And if we scroll all the way down here to battery level, right now, let's say I'm not comfortable arriving with a 10% state of charge. And you noticed when we looked at the route plan, it had us arriving with 9%. If I change this to 20%, you'll notice that it will recalculate the route. And I'll be curious to see what that does in terms of change to the route plan. So here we go. We're still looking at about 9 hours and 42 minutes to travel those 509 miles or so to get there. Still 3 charging stops. Let's take a look at them. Still charge point, now it's 53 minutes to 65% instead of 64. 176 miles away, we're still stopping at Mills at Jersey Gardens, charging to 56%. And with our last charging stop, it looks like it's going to have us charge an additional 5 minutes to get to just under 60% state of charge so that we can arrive at our location with 20%. All right. So that's interesting. I'm not sure how useful this is, but again, if I need to arrive at that location with, let's say, 35% state of charge, again, it will recalculate the route to apply that new setting. And then when we look at the route, you'll see that it's now actually changed charging stops. So same charge point to start, right? We're going to go to 65% there. We're going to stay longer at Mills at Jersey Gardens to 74% now, right? Charging for 31 minutes at 150 kilowatt. But our last stop will be at Dartmouth Mall. And we're going to get there at about a 14% state of charge and charge up to 55%, charging for 19 minutes. And that will get us to our location with 32% state of charge. So interesting to see how that works in terms of configuring or setting your desired state of charge that you want to arrive at your destination with. And this is what it looks like when we go ahead and accept the route and put it in. It will indicate what the next turn is in your navigation, and it's also indicating the next stop to charge from 17 to 65%. The other thing is we've got this little menu here. You have the ability to sort of swipe up on that, and when you do that, you can either go into settings for navigation or you can add a stop. So when you click add a stop, this is new. Prior to this update, we did not have the ability to search for a specific waypoint. Fisker provides a pretty comprehensive and lengthy list of options here that you can scroll through, everything from a charging station to restaurant to parking garage hotels, hospitals, police station. I mean, this is just a pretty exhaustive list, right? Airports, and it still goes, right? But we didn't have the ability to search. The fact that now, while on this route, if I wanted to search for a location, I can click into that and I could say, maybe I want to go to the Empire State Building, maybe. And as you're typing, you can see, it's looking, right? So if I want, I can go ahead and add that stop and it will update the route, right? You see down here, it's indicating that it is adding the stop, right? So that stop has been added. And if you look at the overall route plan, we can see, here's where we're going to make our first charging stop. Then we'll go to Mills at New Jersey for our second one. And then now here is the Empire State Building that's been added. And then from there, we would continue on to Dartmouth Mall and then on to our location. Now, when you do add a waypoint, as we just did with Empire State Building, right, if you click on that, it gives you a little bit more information about that location, along with the option of removing that stop, and it'll take it out. What it doesn't give you, and I'll show you with this example again, we come back out, come down here and go into add a stop again, right? We're going to do a search. I want to do the Statue of Liberty. So let's go ahead and select that, add that stop, and it's in the process of adding that stop. Now, what I want to do here in this case is add a second location, right? So let's go ahead and put in Empire State Building again. So now when I come over here and I look at the full route plan, you'll see it's actually updated our charging, right? So we're still going to Frank First Avenue. It's not giving me information about the charging provider, but earlier it did say that this was ChargePoint, and we know the ChargePoint typically is the one that offers that 62 kilowatt charging. So that's still there, but it's added Christiana Mall in Delaware to charge to 71%. Before we had to Statue of Liberty, and then from there over to the Empire State Building. So if I wanted to change the order, I don't see that we have the option to, highlight this and then drag it to change the order of operation here. So you're just kind of stuck. I guess take out Statue of Liberty and then re-add it. So that aspect of it is a bit kludgy and provides an opportunity for Fisker to improve the navigation here even further, because all we can do here is remove the stop. We do not have the ability to reorder them. Now, with what's down here on the map, we do have the ability to zoom in, zoom out. You can either do that with your fingers or use the plus minus that comes up here, but you don't have the ability to click on the charging location and get information about that. But it does look like you can, push and hold a location, and it will give you the option of adding that location. Some of the other enhancements in this release includes enhancements to Bluetooth for audio and hands-free operation. There were what Fisker is calling ADAS settings improvements. I couldn't find any sort of indication of what those are. There just isn't much here in terms of ADAS stuff I could see was enhanced. Perhaps those are, we'll call them behind the scenes enhancements, or perhaps they come to fruition as you're driving the vehicle, you're out on the roads in terms of how the vehicle behaves from an ADAS perspective. There were languages added for our European owners and drivers, as well as you might imagine, bug fixes and other performance and stability enhancements. This is truly our first significant over-the-air update. Fisker has set the expectation that we should look for our next update here in Q1 of 2024. So we'll leave it there for now. Please comment below any features that perhaps I may have missed or anything you guys have questions about. So if you have been, thank you for watching, and we'll look forward to hopefully having you join me on the next one. Take care.
Brian just started his new channel. Show him some love right here. You can check out his interface tour at this link, and my Model Y and Fisker Ocean comparison for 2024 lives right here. Subscribe for more. We'll see you on the next one.
Hey, smash the like button.
Thank you.